Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Welcome into Golf Central and happy Thanksgiving from all of us at Golf Channel. I'm Whit Watson. On a day of giving thanks, we bring you stories of those who have a lot to be thankful for. We start with Ashtyn Brown. If you watched Golf Channel's coverage of this year's Children's Miracle Network Hospitals Classic at Disney, you may recall her face and her spirit. She is effervescent and fearless. A freshman in college, a member of the girls' golf team, she's also an inspiration. Wynn McMurray has that story.
Thanks, Whit. Each year, the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals Classic chooses an ambassador to participate in the Pro-Am at Walt Disney World. This year's recipient was a very special 18-year-old with conviction and heart. Throughout our lives, scoring plays a role. In school, the marks we get on tests reflect the grades we walk away with. Scoring in sports is measured on baskets made, touchdowns converted, and extra points kicked. Coming home, game-winning goals, and how many you are in the red. For one collegiate golfer, keeping score has an entirely different meaning.
I was just as active as any of them. Loved sports, was never inside watching TV.
Ashtyn Brown was merely 6 years old when a routine visit to her pediatrician created more questions than answers. He immediately recommended the family make a trip to Riley Hospital for Children in Indianapolis, an hour-and-a-half drive.
I can remember I was working and I got a call that says, "You have to come home right now." And I said, "Well, I'll be home in a bit. I got some stuff going." They said, "No, you will come home right now." On the way over, we were all crying and really traumatized. It was very traumatic, and we knew that something was wrong. Didn't know what it was, but we knew something was wrong.
I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. The way I remember them putting it out is like if you had to draw a straw, it's probably the best straw you could draw.
Once we were here and they did what they had to do for the spinal tap and they had to do the bone marrow, they had to decide which type of cancer it was, and within 4 hours she was on chemo.
A nurse met us there, and I remember the exact words she said to us. She goes, "Your life will never be the same."
I remember driving home and I pulled up to a stoplight and I just remember hitting the steering wheel with my fist and saying, "No, God, you know what, you'll see me before you see my child." I think back to that day and I think my whole world has turned upside down.
From that day forward, the Brown family started the road to recovery. Ashtyn went through 2.5 years of chemotherapy, fighting her way towards remission. After 9 months of being cancer-free, the family received devastating news.
It was a normal checkup, like my once-a-month visits, and I hadn't been feeling well. They came in and they shut the door, and they're like, "Something's not right."
Dr. Goldman came in and sat down and said, "We're in trouble again. We're going to give you 2 weeks. We'll let you go home for those 2 weeks, but because we don't want to make an early diagnosis and misdiagnose what it may be."
I was optimistic. I kept going on like I was, but my poor parents and family had to live with that for 2 weeks, and I remember not thinking that it was going to be back.
It was within 5 days, and we were back here. It had overtaken very aggressively. It had not only entered the bone marrow where it started, but it was also in our spinal fluid, versus the first time it was not. So the aggressiveness of the treatment started quickly.
The relapse of Ashtyn's leukemia was traumatic for the entire family and completely altered the chances of her survival.
We're like, well, how many kids make it? At the time, it was about 80-20. 80% of the kids, did very well with the treatment and continued on without problem. 20% relapsed. When Ashton relapsed, we clearly were in the 20% because it flips at that point. 80% of the kids don't make it, and 20% do. And then once she contracted the fungal infection, those percentages went down even further.
The fungal infection that engulfed her organs prevented her from having a bone marrow transplant. Without a transplant, she had less than a 10% chance to live. Ashton's doctor didn't give up hope. He found an experimental drug that had yet to be approved by the FDA.
I can remember asking Dr. Goldman, I said, Doc, do you have any kind of information, study material on this that we could look at and see what this drug's about? And he says, well, I will later.
It was that experimental drug that saved Ashton's life.
Without that option, I wouldn't be here.
Throughout Ashton's stints in the hospital, many friends have come and gone. One individual who touched her heart unlike any other was Justin Cross.
We were in it together. He was diagnosed just shortly after me, and the bond I can't even describe was just special. Justin was such a special person.
I remember particularly when Justin was first diagnosed in summer of 2000. And a lot of cards came in, and Ashton had made him a card. It was one she'd made with construction paper and had done it in crayon. It said, Justin, you're going to have bad days, but you're going to have good days, and you're going to have some really good days. And then in parentheses she says, and those are the days when you forget you even have ALL. Now, coming from a 7-year-old, that was pretty profound.
Ashton does not allow herself to grow close to anyone because she's afraid that if she does, that person will be gone. Because she lost so many relationships along the way that she did bond with. That's hard. And Justin chipped that into her heart, and I will forever be grateful to him.
13 years older, Justin was a student at Ball State University, where he was a member of the men's golf team. Golf was his passion, and it was that passion for the game that transcended to Ashton.
It kind of became a pipe dream. Oh, maybe I'll go to Ball State one day.
But Justin would never see that day. Justin Cross lost his battle with leukemia January 5th, 2005. He was just 24 years old.
I was just devastated. I had my own battle at the time to fight, but I had just lost him, and the closest one I've ever gotten to. And once I started getting better at the game, I was like, no, I am gonna do this. I will go to Ball State, and I will finish this for Justin, and I will do this for myself, and we'll still do it together.
She plays golf for Justin. She promised him before he passed away, and this is when she was 12, that I will finish your dream at Ball State and start mine. I will. That is my goal. You know, if I have to go as a walk-on, I'm going to play golf at Ball State, and there was no changing that.
I didn't want it to be a sob story of, oh, she knew Justin and she was sick and she wants to go to Ball State. That's not what I was about. I wanted to play Division I golf, and I wanted to compete at that level.
I can remember you're talking about Indiana summers, that 90-plus degrees, 100% humidity, and a little bitty skinny, bald-headed girl out there pushing her push cart along and getting through it, and she didn't know, but that made her stronger. Absolutely made her stronger.
Ashton achieved her goal. She earned a scholarship to attend Ball State University. The dream Justin started, Ashton is fulfilling.
She's an inspiration like I've never been part of before, and I think that all my players see that too.
Justin might not be here to see Ashton follow through with his dream, but his spirit is.
Justin knew I loved butterflies, and he wrote me a card, and I didn't receive the card till after he passed away. And it had butterflies on the card. And he wrote me a note, and I mean the note encrypted, just, you know, you were always my little sister, and you're gonna make it, and stay strong, and those kind of things. And so now I've noticed that out on the golf course in a competition round, I'll see one monarch butterfly, and it's not always obvious. And it catches you just out of the corner of your eye, or it'll land on my bag, and I can just feel him, and I know he's there, and I know he's watching. And days now, I think, are way harder without him, because I am in his shoes now. Seeing the butterfly, I just know he's still there.
Included with the card Justin bestowed upon Ashton was a gift. It was his leather scorecard holder.
He left it for me, and it's the most prized possession in my bag. I mean, I lose the clubs, but I can't lose that. Since I've had it, I've never kept a card without it. He said, "Tell Ashton I'm praying for her and I love her." And so I think about those words, and the words in the card are all in that book, and those are the pieces of Justin that I have left.
What are you thankful for?
My life, my family, my team, my coach. I'm not supposed to be here, so the fact that I am and that I get to play golf every day, that's a huge part of it. And it's as simple as that. Miracles happen. Fight for every day that you have and enjoy it. Take 5 minutes at a time and just let the day pass.
In life, we all keep score, but perhaps not how we should. In Ashton's eyes, keeping score goes much deeper than any game. While fulfilling Justin's dream of playing Division I golf at Ball State, Ashton developed a goal of her own to inspire others, the way Justin inspired her to always follow your dreams.
Wynn, thank you. Still to come on this Thanksgiving edition of Golf Central, you probably have not heard from Sophie Gustafson in a while. In a moment, we'll tell you why. And Tiger Woods opens up to Darren Ravel about his journey since Thanksgiving of '09.
Golf Central, brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. Find out which Titleist is best for your game at Titleist.com. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit Geico.com for a free rate quote.